Savage with 7 bodies who took on the feds.
It's unacceptable, no matter whether someone was a gang member or not.
Oh.
And so the people who are responsible for that, we'll bring them to
Gangsta.
justice.
People of Chicago who worry about gun violence, they should know that it is a top priority of this administration, and it is why we eagerly work in partnership with our federal partners and our CPD partners.
The fact that the city of Chicago has 115,000 self-admitted street gang members absolutely represents a crisis.
These men and their associates terrorized countless numbers of families and significantly contributed to the cycle of gun violence.
Some names echo through the streets like a ghost story. A name that carries weight, fear, and an inevitable fate. In Inglewood, Chicago, that name was O-Dog. Before the feds came knocking, before the indictments, before the bloodshed reached its peak, he was just another young man caught in a cycle that few escape. But what made O-Dog different? Why did his name strike fear even among his own? Tonight, we unravel a story that doesn't just end in tragedy. It was built on it.
Oh,
69th and Elizabeth, Inglewood's war zone. This is where O-Dog's story begins, in the heart of the Goonie Boss set. A neighborhood where alliances and betrayals shift like the wind, and every block holds a grudge. Affiliated with Milk Gang, CMB, and Crazy Villain, O-Dog and his crew weren't just in the mix, they were the storm. Their enemies, too many to count. But if you had to pick one, Mayblock. Proximity breeds conflict, and Inglewood had no shortage of either. Word on the streets was that O-Dog had ties to JoJo, the infamous figure from Brick Squad. If true, that meant family connections ran deeper than gang ties, making loyalty both a weapon and a curse. But loyalty doesn't stop bullets, and in these streets, death had an open invitation. By 2014, O-Dog wasn't just another face in the crowd. He was a target by both the opposition and the law. Arrest after arrest, charge after charge. From petty crimes to accusations of murder, his rap sheet grew as fast as his reputation. But it wasn't until 2016 that he made the mistake that sealed his fate. A mistake so reckless, so bold, that it sent shockwaves through the city. A gun store in Streator, Illinois, a federal license, a foolproof system. O-Dog, Richard, and Keith Gullins thought they could outsmart it. A stolen truck, 18 handguns, a rifle,
18
and a shotgun.
handguns. God
They
damn.
disappeared into the night, believing they had just leveled up. They were wrong. Technology doesn't forget. Enhanced footage, serial numbers traced. The guns they had stolen were used in murders, and the evidence pointed in one direction, back to Goonie Boss,
They
back
snitched.
to O-Dog.
So-
And when the feds get involved, there are no second chances.
285,
Oh, God,
three leaders of a Chicago street gang are headed to prison on federal racketeering charges. Romeo Blackman, Terrence Smith, and Jolicious Turman were convicted following a 7-week
Racketeering,
trial.
6
Federal prosecutors
unalive
say
and
as
stolen
part of the
weapons,
Goonie
witness
gang,
intimidation,
the three
social
were liable
abuse.
for
5 other
6
men
murders.
charged.
They stole weapons, violently intimidated witnesses to keep them from cooperating with law enforcement,
Damn.
and boasted about gang activities on social media. 5 other men connected to the gang face various state and federal charges.
They must have been
May
scared as hell.
2017, indictments dropped like a hammer. O-Dog and Chundo, Gullins, and 22 others charged under RICO, racketeering, conspiracy,
charge?
and multiple murders. But these weren't just numbers on a case file. These were bodies, real people, real deaths, real consequences. Here are the list of victims that O-Dog was either alleged in murdering or involved in the murdering of. 34-year-old Kenneth Whitaker. On July 1st, 2026, his nickname was Loso, and he claimed Hoodville. He was shot.
What the fuck he just say? Am I tweaking, gang?
Murdering of 34-year-old Kenneth Whitaker. On July 1st, 2026, his nickname.
When the fuck did July 1st, 2026 happen? Where the fuck was I? July 1st.
4-year-old Kenneth Whitaker. On July 1st, 2026.
Where the fuck I was at? When did that day happen? You feel what I'm saying, bro? When that day happen?
His nickname was Loso.
Alright, bro.
And he claimed Hoodville. He was shot to death on a sidewalk.
I'm assuming he meant like 2016.
19-year-old Gerald Bumper on June 30th, 2016. Nickname was Goldie.
Hold on. He didn't say 2026.
Hood I first involved in the murdering of 34-year-old Kenneth Whitaker on July 1st, 2026.
He meant 2016, y'all.
2016. Nickname was Goldie. 34-year-old Ramal Hicks on June 20th, 2016. Nickname was Pooh.
So
He was
3
shot
people
outside
in 1
of the
year
store.
though. 3 people is
38-year-old
crazy.
Gerald Seas on May 26, 2016.
God
He was
damn.
shot to death inside of a barbershop.
He was wild in 2016.
19-year-old Devon Horace on January 15, 2016.
2016.
He died from multiple gunshot wounds.
What the
26-year-old Andre Donor on December 13, 2015. Nickname was Smiley. He was shot over 10 times. 25-year-old Crystal Jackson on November 19, 2014. Crystal was not the target. There was a 27-year-old man in the car with her who got shot multiple times, including in the head, but lived. 18-year-old Stanley Bobo on October 23, 2014. Nickname was Nuki. He died from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. 24-year-old Alonzo Williams on March 21st, 2014. Nickname Zoe. He was shot 3 times and left for dead in an alley. 21-year-old
Many goddamn bodies he
Jonathan
catch.
Jackson
God
on January
damn.
22nd, 2014. Nickname was Big John. He was shot in the abdomen of his apartment's hallway. 26-year-old
What the fuck?
David Easley on May
7
21st,
bodies.
2016. Nickname was Duke, aka Cash Addict. These weren't just
God
random acts of
damn.
violence. They were a part of a chain reaction, a storm that had been brewing for years. And O-Dog was at the center of it. His fate was no longer in his hands. And in the world he came from, there were only 2 outcomes: death
Jail.
or prison.
Chicago, a crackdown on a notorious street gang. 23
crazy,
members
though.
named in a federal
Well, you
indictment.
see how this could happen though, because either he caught all these bodies, you feel what I'm saying, or he sold the pipes when people used them to do that. You feel what I'm saying? So either way, he connected with all them regardless. He ain't nothing you can
Charged
do.
with murder.
You're
CBS
like,
News'
"God
Mike
damn."
Cuccinelli joins us live now from the Englewood Police District Station with the latest for us. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
Hi, and those 23 members are part of a faction called Goonie Boss, and according to authorities, they are responsible for as many as 11 murders in and around the Englewood neighborhood. They say the Goonie Boss hit squad routinely terrorized the 3 square mile area where basketball hoops are makeshift, boarded up homes are commonplace, and the median income is less than $20,000 a year. Sources say that
Damn, the income is less than $20,000 a year? What the hell is y'all doing y'all whole day? Y'all, wow.
faction has been operating for years in the streets and alleys around 72nd and 73rd Street near Hermitage, Paulina, Marshfield, and Ashland.
I ain't gonna
In
lie.
addition to the
If you making in 2025, if you making 20,000 a year, gang, or 20,000 or under, bro, you're failing at life. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Not trying to bash anybody that is. You're failing at life. You're not putting enough time or effort into what you got going on, bro. What you mean 20,000 or less? The fuck? You feel
7
me?
murders. Goonie Boss members are accused of being part of a gun trafficking group that burglarized a gun shop downstate. The 11 cases that make up the indictment date at least as far back as 2016, according to the Chicago Police Department. So far, authorities haven't said whether any of the murders happened on Englewood streets. The joint FBI and Chicago Police Department investigation has resulted in federal racketeering charges in addition to the state murder and gun charges. And the interagency cooperation was so extensive that Cook County prosecutors were actually deputized as federal prosecutors in order to maximize the level of potential punishment within the state and federal systems. Now, we met one young man who identified himself as a member of Goonie Boss. He didn't speak on camera, and every other person we spoke with in Englewood this morning also declined to be interviewed, saying they feared for their lives. Now, we expect
Fear
this
for
news
your
conference
life.
to get underway
You
here
feared for your life, but you told them you was a gangster and you was in that gang, right?
in about 90 minutes. It will be led by the U.S. Attorney, also the Cook County State's Attorney, the FBI.
Oh, they
and,
on
of
their
course,
ass.
the Chicago Police Department.
Oh, they on
We
their
expect to
ass.
learn a whole lot more about these potential death penalty cases once the indictment is unsealed. Reporting live in Englewood, Mike Cuccinelli, CBS 2 News. Aaron?
All right, Mike, thank you.
Cook County prosecutors weren't playing games.
Oh, God,
they were
wouldn't.
willing to do whatever it took deputizing as federal prosecutors just to make sure O-Dog never walked free again. Facing 7 murder charges, 5 attempted murders, and the weight of a federal RICO case, O-Dog had one last chance to make. Fold or fight. He chose
Fold
to
or fight, and yeah.
But against the feds, the odds are never in your favor.
I'm God, because the feds only gonna pick you up if they have real sufficient evidence to get that ass. There was no finesse in that, gang. You feel what I'm saying? And you ain't had enough money for no lawyer neither. You're done. You're done.
Today, O-Dog sits in a federal prison,
How long?
awaiting his fate. The death penalty
He's still
looms
waiting.
over him. A reminder that the game only ends one way. This is not a story of legends. It's not a tale of glory. It's a cautionary reminder of how fast the streets will swallow you whole. Because in the end, there is no retirement plan in this life.
That's true, but he caught 7 bodies in a 2-year span. So was that fast, y'all, or was that not fast? Because it seemed like he was out there for over 700 days. Kicking and working his moves, slaying that fire. You feel what I'm saying? 2 years, that's a long time, gang. That's not, but then it is. But like, goddamn.
Are no victories,
tweaking, bro.
Only last moments. The more blood you spill, the easier it gets.
Facts,
until one day, you can't stop. Until
Can't
one
stop.
day, the streets decide you've done too much. And when that day comes, whether it's bullets or a prison cell, you're gone.
Damn.
This has been the story of O-Dog. And like all the others before him, his fate was written the moment he chose the streets. All right, y'all.
That shit crazy, y'all. Y'all hear it right then and there, bro. He wildin' though. 7 bodies, though. How is you gonna beat that? How is you gonna beat that, gang? You getting charged with 7 different unalivings of 7 different people. Most people can't even beat 1 or 2. How is you gonna beat this case? You ain't King Vaughn. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Y'all, let me know what y'all feel about this video. He obviously a demon, though. If he out here slinging iron, catching 7 bodies in 2 years, though, I ain't gonna lie. He him. He got it. I don't want no smoke. You feel what I'm saying, man? But let me know what y'all feel about this video. But y'all see, he was out here slinging an iron, and now he in prison. You feel me? So, it really wasn't even worth it. He ain't get shit from it. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Let me know what y'all feel about this video, man. It's on with y'all, man. Like the video.